Hey, welcome back, my friends. So, what do we have happen today? Not much. We just got some news from Cleanspark. Bitcoin's been kind of flat today. Miners were down today, and that's about it. So, we're going to cover all that's happening there, and we'll get it to your guys' Q&A. Okay, so that's it. Not financial advice, for anything only. Do your own research as always. Hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. Let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin right now. And Bitcoin is down a little bit here on the new day. It is down approximately, 1.37%. It is at 104,000. We did reach a high today on Bitcoin at 108,388 and 88 cents. Kind of a strange number with a bunch of eights in it, but we did get a new all-time high. We have pulled back. Miners didn't do that well today. MicroStrategy didn't do that well today. Also was down 5.41%. Bitfarms was down 1.4. BitDeer was down 8.3. Cypher was down just a little bit, 2.17. CleanSpark only down 0.96%. It was in the green a couple times during the day, but then it came back down. CORZ was down 3.2. Hive was down 2. Hot was only up 1.9. So that one was the best performer here. IREN was down 1.29. Marathon was up just slightly, 0.16. Riot was down 0.43. Wolf was down 0.49. So the miners didn't do too bad overall, considering that Bitcoin was basically flat on the day. We had a nice day yesterday, so some profit taking was going to be happening here on the miners. And then some of the smaller miners were down as well. We had the ETFs down also, so that is all playing out the way it normally does. Yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing anything drastic happening here on Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin on the RSI side of things is still looking pretty good. It's under the 70 right now on the daily. The 4-hour chart has probably come back down, to like the 50 mark. So that's looking pretty good. The 1-hour chart is probably even lower. Yep, it is at 35 right now. And I think we're just kind of building up steam again to go up higher here. 1 hour or the 15-minute chart is at 31 right now. We have been kind of going downwards on it. We'll see where we actually stop at that point. And let me see here. Last time we went below the 200 average on it was back here on Saturday the 14th, and we've gone way down below it. So I think eventually we will start to go back up here on it. But whether it's going to be tomorrow or Thursday, time will only tell on that point. Okay. Now, as far as the network hash really quick on this one, let's take a quick look at that, see where that's looking at. And that has been coming down here on the 7-day average down to 785. The 30-day average probably will be coming down as well a little bit. It's actually a little bit flat, 760 right now, so still not too bad. Bitcoin is still doing pretty good for December. It is up 8.8% here so far. So that's still looking good. As long as we're in the green on December, I think that's going to be a good sign for us for next year going forward. And yeah, the only real story that we have here today is Cleanspark. They announced their closing of offering of $650 million at zero coupon convertible notes. There's a bunch of information in here. We're going to talk about it. And then we also have, I think it is Denny Marquez or Mike Hughes. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your last name wrong, but he has some good points in there in X post as well. And we'll go over that. And here's what we have. So Cleanspark now has a 600. Yeah, I gotta slow down. 650 million aggregate principal amount of 0% convertible senior notes due 2030. Down here, in connection with the pricing of the convertible notes, the company entered into a capped call transactions with various counterparties at a cap price of $24.66 per share of the company's common stock, representing a 100% premium over the common stock's closing price of $12.33 on December 12th. The capped call transactions are expected to generally reduce the potential dilution of the common stock upon any conversion of the convertible notes, so that's a good thing, and or offset any potential cash payments the company is required to make in excess of the principal amount of convertible notes, as the case may be, with such reduction and or offset subject to a cap. Okay, so I think they did the right thing there. The company has also repurchased 11.76 million shares of common stock for approximately $145 million, which will be removed from the company's outstanding share count. That should help on the, well, if the shorts start covering on here, that will help. But if the shorts don't start covering, then that's going to be a higher percentage of the shares being shorted there for them. Down here, here's a quote from Zach Bradford. "We are proud to have closed this offering with some of the strongest institutional investors in the world and are excited to share that our growth through 50 exahash and beyond is now expected to be more than fully funded from the proceeds." So that's good news, right? 50 exahash beyond that. We don't know what they're talking about as far as beyond. And that was from Zach Bradford, CEO and president. In addition to funding the growth to 50 exahash, share buyback and capped call and additional capital will allow us to keep adding the Bitcoin we mine to our balance sheet. So it looks like they are going to be continue to add on to their HODL position here each month going forward. We don't know for how much longer, but we know it's going to be happening here, I'm guessing, for the next possibly 6 months to maybe a year. I doubt it's going to be a year, but I'm guessing at least for the next 6 months. Beyond our expansion efforts already underway, we remain well positioned to continue executing on opportunistic acquisitions. Bradford continued, importantly, this offering provides our stockholders greater clarity on near-term share count, given our ATM offering was completed in early November, and we have no immediate plans to commence another equity or equity-linked offering, as the capital received from the offering is sufficiently covers our near-term strategic objectives. So this is really good, right? At least we know for the next possibly 6 months to a year, we may not have any more ATMs or share dilution, which should be a good thing for the stock going forward, I would imagine, at least on that one. So this is all good news. You guys can read the rest of it here as well. There's not much left in there, but you're more than welcome to read that. I want to get into Danny's here X post on it. So he said Cleanspark just came out with an illustrative visual of their 650 million 0% coupon convertible notes. Here are the key points and what it means for shareholders. And so this was, I thought, a great breakdown here. Deal size 650 million, offering at 0%, conversion premium 20%, leading to a conversion price of $14.80 per share based on Cleanspark 12/12 closing price. Capped call overlay fully offsets dilution up to 100% above the issue price of $24.66 per share, so that's good. Share repurchase, 145 million was spent to buy back 11.76 million shares at $12.33. Nice, right? That is good. Provisional call feature: Cleanspark can call the convertibles after 3.5 years if the stock price exceeds 130% of the conversion price, $19.23 per share. Unless you're familiar with these types of deals, the graph below is hard to follow. I'll break it down by price on the x-axis and what it means for shareholders. So he's talking about this chart here, right? This chart over here. And I was looking at it, I was like, okay, that's definitely interesting, but what does that actually mean here? So he goes and breaks it down for us, which is really nice. At 12.33, outstanding shares declined by 11.76 million via the recent share buyback, which offsets the offering. At 14.80, convertible convert into equity, but dilution still remains fully offset. At 19.23, Cleanspark can call the convertible notes to cap dilution as it's 130% of the call trigger, but no net shares can be issued yet. At 24.66, at this price, the capped call protection expires and net dilution can begin, but share repurchase limits any impact. Okay, so that's good there. Up to this point, dilution is fully neutralized by the capped call overlay and share buyback. Between 24.66 and 33.67, modest dilution can occur, but new shares issued remain below the 11.76 million share repurchased. Okay, at $30, dilution increase as the capped call no longer offsets the higher share price. And then at 33.67, break-even point where dilution is fully offset by the 11.6 million shares repurchased, hence the zero on the chart. No new net shares issued at this point. Now, when you get to 35 to 37, net new shares are issued up to 1% of total outstanding. What's that all mean? Well, Cleanspark shareholders remain fully protected up to $24.66 per share with zero dilution. Between 24.67 and 33.67, partial dilution can occur, but it will be neutralized by its share buybacks. Okay, so that's definitely interesting there, how this is all working out for them. And at 37 plus, even if Cleanspark wanted to dilute, it will be constrained to just 1% of total shares outstanding. So that is really good. So 1% dilution for that is really, really good. And then them obviously stating that they are fully funded 50 exahash, right? They're going to continue to hodl. And then I'm hoping they're going to start selling some of their hodl position here as Bitcoin goes up to above 150,000, maybe closer to 200,000 at that point, like they did in last cycle to fund the growth. Again, if we have another bear market here. But we'll see what they do on it. And here's the chart again in this one. And let's see if we can zoom this in a little bit more. So that's kind of where we're seeing that zero dilution here up to this point, 33.67. And if you get above that, then it's where you're kind of seeing the dilution possibly happening there a little bit at the price right around 1% here. So not too bad. This is actually really good. We'll see how the stock does going forward. We've seen other companies that have done this. The stock tends to rally a little bit after that point. And they also rallied last year, right around, I think it was this time in November as well, where they basically provided they were fully funded to 21 exahash, I believe, and the stock did really well. And then they did another ATM here in March of this year of 800 million, I believe, which then the stock took a beating because of it. But yeah, that's basically it. I'm all for this. I'm happy with this. We'll see how the stock does, though. What we think and what everybody else thinks in here may not be worth a diddly. It'll be based on the institutions, the big guys playing in the space, and what they actually think of it and how they react to it, which I think is going to be positive, but we'll see on that side of things. All right. And if we look at the current enterprise value metrics on these guys here, I did update Riot and Cleanspark here with the latest number of debt that they have, basically. Cleanspark having 600 some odd million, Riot having 500 some odd million or more or less on their balance sheet now. Added that into the enterprise metrics as well. So that's coming up with the latest information that we have here for them. And currently you can see here that based on the current hash rate where everybody is at, we got Hive, Bitfarms, Iris, Cleanspark, Riot, Marathon still being way undervalued from the rest of the pack here. And if you look at future hash rate, and the things really become drastic at that point, where you got Bitfarms at 41 million per exahash, Cleanspark at 59 million per exahash, Riot at 75, IREN at 92, Marathon at 120 million, and then the rest are much, much higher in valuation. For comparison, if you just look at TeraWolf at 427 million, it would take Cleanspark basically, what is that, almost, 8 times? 8x of their current valuation to get to that same valuation right now. 8x on it, right? 7x. That would be it. That would be, 7x on it. The stock is at $12 right now. If it was to go up 7x to get fair valuation like TeraWolf here going forward, you're looking at a stock price roughly, what is it going to be? $84 a share. My math is right on this. I'm not saying it's going to get there. I'm thinking more like $50, $60 is the target that I have for them, but they could definitely go up higher than that if Bitcoin goes past 200, 250,000. We don't know that yet. We'll have to wait and see where Bitcoin goes. But same with the other guys here. Some of the other guys are still being way undervalued as it is. And even if we just average it out to like 200 million for the average for some of these top guys here, we could see some of these guys getting a 4 to 5x easily, right? So that's kind of the way I'm looking at things. I think some of these guys, as I've said before, many times, that they are way undervalued compared to some of these other guys, which are getting valuation based on their HPC AI potential there. And we're still waiting on some news releases from like TeraWolf for customers that they were talking about here that they're going to be providing in December, I know. And then if we look at the enterprise value here for these guys here, I probably should have updated this, but Cleanspark is now ahead of Riot, it looks like, just barely here, with 3.3 billion, Riot at 3.2 billion. CORZ still a little bit higher than that, so yeah, Marathon number one here in enterprise value as it is. Okay, so that is it. Let's get into the Q&A side of things, see if you guys have any questions, and we'll call it a day. It should be a pretty easy one. We're only at 13 minutes right now as it is, so we're looking pretty good. All right, let's get into Q&A. As always, you guys know the drill. Patreon members get access to my spreadsheets. Link for that is down in the description, as always. All right, let me go to my Q&A here. And as always, preface the question with a question mark or Q, and then I'll get to it as well. And I'm going to scroll my way up a little bit here, see if I can find any questions, and then we'll work our way down on it. Let's see what we got here. Okay, question. Okay. Thoughts on MicroStrategy as a leverage play? QQQ inclusion at the end of the week should boost the stock. It should boost the stock, right? Or is that already priced in also? We've seen MicroStrategy come down from a high of $500, whatever it's been, all the way down to, let me see here. Let me pull up MicroStrategy for you guys on the chart. And I did say that MicroStrategy was looking a little overvalued, a little overrun, overhyped a little bit. And here's a chart on that. It got to a high of $543. So this was back on November 21st. And right around this time is when I was saying it. MicroStrategy is looking a little high here. When you look at the comparison to Bitcoin, it was definitely outrunning Bitcoin. and historically it's been around like a 2 to 3x on top of Bitcoin. So we did have that pullback. It came down to a low of 338, and it's kind of stabilized right now more or less in this range that it's trading in. You can see it here over the last couple of days, right? You got top here at 441 roughly, and the bottom is roughly at 364, and it's been kind of trading in that range here more or less. We'll see if we can break out of it. If Bitcoin breaks out to going much higher, I would expect them to go higher as well. They keep buying more Bitcoin as it is. But yeah, with the inclusion of the QQQ, we'll see how that plays out on it. I just don't know on that side of things. Okay, let's see. All right, question: who are these various counterparties in the Cleanspark announcement? I'm very interested in who they are and who they have agreements with. I think those might be, and I might be wrong on this, but I think it might be like some of the ones that are like Cantor Fitzgerald, some of the guys that have given them ATMs in the past or processed their ATMs. It could be also some of the institutional holders that are in them that hold them as well. I don't have that data pulled up here, but let me see if I can find it really quick. Let me see your finance.yahoo. Let's see if we can pull it up in there. We should be able to see at least some of the top people that are holding it. Oh, gosh, if I could only type Cleanspark. Okay, let's go here. Screen. Let's see if I can find this. Community, historical, financials, analysts, options, holders. There we go. Yeah, Morgan Stanley, right, has the top institutional holders. Morgan Stanley, Sequoia. Some of these guys might be also helping there on it. That's kind of where I would possibly look at instead of let's see. Yeah, but that's kind of where I would look at some of those guys that are holding a bunch of shares of them. And they do have approximately, like 51% of the shares. Oh, going up here. This was as of 12/3, 46% of the shares have been held by institutions. So some of those guys that are holding shares there right now. Okay. That's kind of what I would think. But I could be wrong on that. Okay. Now, when is expected for Riot to HPC AI? We don't know. We do know that they have a activist investor in them, right? That's trying to get them to go into HPC AI more so at the facility at Corsicana, right? I'm thinking of the right one. Yeah. Corsicana is the facility there that they have a lot of megawatts that are available. We'll see what happens there, but we don't have any news on that right now. Okay. Hey, Seb, a lot of institutions were shorting Cleanspark, and now this convertible note was bought by institutions. Do you think they will switch their short to long positions now? We have seen that with others, right? We've seen it with TeraWolf. We've seen it with Cypher. We've seen it with Marathon. We've seen it also with Riot. So I would expect that to happen. At this point, it's in their, I think it's in their best, what's the word I'm looking for? In their, it's best interest to possibly do that. Okay. Question: what is the Riot price of Bitcoin reaches 130,000 at the first quarter of 2025? That'll depend on their operations, and I mean that's not much from where we are right now. It's basically a 30% increase on it. So Riot should be at least, I would say, 30% up from where it is, if not more like 60% or something like that. So that's kind of where I would be looking at. Okay. Let's see. Sebastian question: Cleanspark no more dilution, isn't it an old news? This was mentioned on their convertible notes news 5 days ago. They may be just stating it again so people can understand better. Yeah, I don't know if they stated it back then, but they did state. I don't know if they stated. I can't remember if they did. I don't know. To be honest with you, I can't recall if they did state it or not. I don't know if it's news. It's news nonetheless, right? For me, it's at least was new news because I don't remember them stating that in the past. Let's see. Is it time to buy now? If you look at historical trends and what has happened before when miners stop diluting, that's usually like a good time to buy. Let's see. All right. What's your price prediction for CORZ? For CORZ, it's dependent on, we know what the revenue is going to be for HPCI, right? So we can kind of calculate what they really should be valued at. They still have some debt that they need to pay off, but that's not a big deal there for them now. The big question is, I want to see if they are hodling Bitcoin. It seems like they've been hodling some, but they're not really reporting it. So I want to see that in the quarterly results. The other thing is their growth on Bitcoin mining. That might change things for us as far as where they could go. But I think they're definitely going to continue to go up in price here as they get closer to their starting point where they're basically handing over the facilities to CoreWeave, and CoreWeave is putting in their HPCI servers in there and running at that point. Sebastian, will Fed rate cut tomorrow bump miners stocks tomorrow? Depends on if Powell is going to be hawkish or dovish, right? If he's hawkish on the economy, it might put a little bit of a break on everything, I think. But if he's still relatively dovish and they're going to just keep an eye on what's going on here, I think that might be a good sign there. Okay. See, what's Riot, BTC holding in Cleanspark and IREN? What's Riot, BTC holding? Riot is now at 17,000, right? Let me see if I have this right. Riot is at 17,429 as of their latest report here when they bought some more. So they're at 17,429. Cleanspark is holding right now as of the end of November 9,297 Bitcoin, and IREN doesn't hold anything. So that was IREN's pretty easy to answer on that point. All right, going back here. Okay, so we got any questions? Let's see here. Patrick, thank you so much for the super chat. Thanks, Sebastian. Do you think that since most BTC is mined privately, that publicly traded miners are no longer a good proxy? No, I still think that they're a great proxy, but there's a time to be in them and a time to be out of them. Right now is the time to be in them as Bitcoin price is going up into the bull run. The only thing that might change that is if we have an extended cycle, right? I've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks here, where we don't know if it's going to be an extended cycle because of all of the adoption that we're seeing here. But even at that point, I don't know if you want to hold on to them forever because they really still need to continue to buy more miners. They need to grow with the network hash rate, all that stuff. And yeah, I mean, when you're looking at privately miners, the ones that I only track, 11 of the miners here that are publicly traded, and there's probably close to like 30 miners that are publicly traded. So out of those, these 11 publicly traded miners account for about 28% of the Bitcoin network hash rate. So they're a large portion. They're a quarter of it, right? The rest is in other countries where we don't track. They're not publicly traded or whatever might be the reason. So there's a lot that's happening behind the scenes, but still, these miners here, I think this cycle for sure should get a premium, especially with their operations. And the big thing is getting to scale with a lot of these guys. If they can get to scale, that fixes a lot of the issues where you see, like share-based compensation or just SG&A being a large portion of their revenue. If you get to scale, those things decrease as you scale even more. So that's one of the things that they've been working on is like Marathon, Cleanspark, Riot is getting to that scale where their revenues at that point are bringing in so much more revenue than their costs are. That's just the way I see things. Question, will Bitfarms be doing convertible notes? I'm sure they're probably looking into it. We may get an announcement from them in not too distant future, maybe. I mean, that might be the best way to go for them. All right, what else we got here? Question, hypothetically, let's say Cleanspark is funded to 60 exahash. Do you think if Bitcoin is around 150,000 to 180, that Cleanspark would start selling Bitcoin to fund expansion? Well, they did it last cycle, right? Where they were selling into the bull run and into the bear market even. And they were using that to fund their growth, right? Which they did very, very well, I think, based on just what I saw from where they started in January of 2021, buying a facility that had 100 petahash and then growing to being basically like the second largest miner here right now. So they've done that fantastically, I think, the last cycle. Will they do that this cycle again? That is yet to be seen, right? We only have one cycle. We can't really say historically that they've done that. Historically, we can say that they did at least one cycle, but have they done it in other cycles? We'll have to wait and see. I personally think that would be a good thing. That way it means less dilution, but we'll see. Is there anything to do, or we just need to continue being patient? I think we just need to be patient. So frustrating not seeing any gains for about a year as BTC more than doubles. Thanks. Yeah, if you got into it when Cleanspark was in the $20, $24 even, yeah, you're probably not very happy at this point, and I don't blame you. at that point. But that's why I've been such a strong proponent of dollar cost averaging into these guys, because we really don't know where the bottom is going to be on a lot of these guys. I got into them in 2022, dollar cost average all the way down to when they were much, much lower, which then has helped me out to where I'm still profitable in them, even in the last year. Right, some of these guys, Cleanspark, IREN, Bitfarms haven't done that great, but I'm still positive on them in the green. So that kind of helps me at least sleep a little bit better, I guess you could say, that any further gains is just all, I mean, you could say it's all bonus. It's all honey. Let's see, Ryan says, the fact that such few people are talking about Bitcoin makes me think there are still lots of opportunity to buy into the miners. I would agree, yeah. Seems like Mara is beating Bitfarms in many of your metrics. Are you planning to start a new position, Mara? I'm looking into it. I'll be honest with you guys. I am looking into it. I just want to see a couple more, I would say maybe at least 2 months more of good operations. If they can continue to operate the way they did in November, going into December, January, okay, then things start to look a little bit more appealing for Mara as far as operation side of things for me. So then at that point, I definitely might. And at that point, it might be already higher, but depending where we are in the cycle, where Bitcoin's at, there could be still at least, 2 to 3x on that one. Let's see, Cleanspark undervalued relative to others. Yes, it is. Anyone that invests anyone that invests is tired of hearing about BTC. I'm not. Question: any thoughts on similar industries? I think it's similar industries or similar, whatever that is, similar medical, whatever that might be. Do you have any thoughts on it? I know that they're doing the same thing that MicroStrategy is doing. They're buying up more Bitcoin. I think it's a good thing for them, and we'll see how it works out for them. Let's see here. Ryan celebrates 21 months of membership. Don't forget to tap that button. Appreciate it, Ryan. Yeah, you've been with me a long time. I greatly appreciate it. Let's see here. Right after you said MicroStrategy needs a pullback, it crashed. I wouldn't say that I timed it perfectly, but you can just kind of see it where it just got way too, I like to use the word frothy, right? Where it gets too much to the upside there and just needs a little pullback. And it actually did happen. When did I see it also? I saw it with like IREN, when the short report came out on IREN, right? I'm like, these guys kind of timed it pretty well. IREN did have a nice run up. That's a good time to possibly short the stock. And we saw the short report come out. So yeah, I mean, sometimes you can kind of see things where they get a little too much to the upside, I guess you could say. Let's see, did you see the comment Mike Alfred made about Cypher and Wolf trying to get deals done by end of year? George K seemed to confirm in a comment that something is in the pipeline for Cypher. Yeah, I did see that. And that would be fantastic for the people that own shares of Wolf and Cypher, right? Especially for Wolf, because Wolf had a huge run up here, and the only reason it's run up is because of the HPCI potential. So we really do need to see something from them. But that's the question that I have there is, how big of a deal is that going to be? Is it going to be $10 million a year in revenue from HPCI, or is it going to be like $100 million a year? I think that's going to be a determining factor for what the stock does going forward. Hey, Seb, do you think Cleanspark will mine 700 BTC this month? And do you think they can get to 10,000 by the end of 10,000 for the hodl for? I think they're mining right now. I've seen reports that they're mining at $22 or $22 Bitcoin per day right now, roughly 22 times 31 days. It'd still be under 700 for the month, so they'll be close. They'll be probably in the high 650s, I'm guessing, somewhere around there. But that still would be shy from where they need to be to get to 10,000. Let's see, Cleanspark has right now, if they get 600, that would get them close. If they get 650, they would get to like 9,950 roughly. So they would be definitely close to that. All right. Let's see. I want to make oversized gains multiples more than what BTC does. Do you think going forward the best place is Cleanspark or maybe the 2x BTC ETF called BitX or top 50 alts? Alts, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm staying away from the alts. Could they do better than some of these miners? Yeah, that might be the case. Which ones? I don't know. If you get in the right ones, maybe, but you also could get in the wrong ones and get rug pulled. Cleanspark, my honest thought is Cleanspark will do better than Bitcoin going forward as Bitcoin price goes up. Could I be wrong on that? Yes, I could definitely be wrong on it, right? But like I said before, I'm still in the green on it, so whatever gains I do get on it, it's all bonus for me right now. But I still think that they will do very, very well. Time will only tell if I was right on this. All right. Let's see. I really don't understand how the miners' price keep getting pushed down with BTC over 100,000. What is the reason this keeps happening? The reason it keeps happening is the big institutions are leveraging, basically. So they're going long on like MicroStrategy, maybe Bitcoin as well, and then they're shorting the miners. So they're covering their kind of butts a little bit at that point. But eventually I think that's going to have to flip, where they will possibly go long on both, because at a certain point, even right now, the miners are making, 40, 50, 60% profit margins on some of these guys might be currently, but if Bitcoin goes up to 150,000, at that point, they're making more like 60, 75% profit margins, even up to like maybe 80% profit margins. And as it goes up even higher, then you're looking at even more profitability. So I think in time, they will have to subside the shorting there. All right, see Patrick. Thanks for your amazing coverage and sharing your knowledge. You're very welcome. Hopefully you guys gain something out of it at least. Okay, let's see. Can you please look into what Bitfarms has announced today after the market got closed? Did I miss something? I thought I looked at that after the market closed here on the miners. Let's take a look at it here really quick. Let's see, Bitfarms, what did they announce? Okay, this is just their, let's see here. This is their second amended and restated prospectus. Supplement for its existing at-the-market equity offering program. What does it state here? Announced that it has filed a second amended and restated prospectus supplement dated December 17th, amending and restating the prospectus supplement dated March 8th of this year. As first amended and restated the prospectus supplement dated October 4th, 2024, the company's existing 307 million base shelf prospectus dated November 10th, 2023, and together with the second and A&R prospectus supplements, the company is filing the second A&R prospectus supplement into corporate update pro forma financial statements in respect of proposed merger between, as first announced on August 21st. As described, the company's press release dated March 8th. The company's previously entered into a at-the-market offering. I'm not seeing anything here if they're done with it, including the company intends to use the net proceeds of the ATM program, if any, primarily in capital expenditures to support growth, development, I would have to definitely look into it some more, but right off the bat, I'm not seeing anything that says that they are done with the ATM. Since the common shares will be distributed at trading prices prevailing at the time of the sale, prices may vary between purchasers. Okay, so maybe that's because of their acquisition of Stronghold, that they have to amend this maybe. That's the only thing I can think of here. Proposed merger between the company and Stronghold. That's the only thing I can think of, unless you guys know something else that I don't know. Okay, 87 million remains on the ATM that they have left. Okay, so I think that's a big thing there. And so then not a lot left for them. 87 million, that's basically, that could still be 40 million shares or so that they might dilute if they pull on this. Okay, let's go back here. When all Bitcoins are mined, will Bitcoin be like XRP, no more mining and low transaction fees, fast transactions? Well, that's not going to happen until 2140 roughly, right? When all the Bitcoins can be mined. At that point, the miners should be generating more revenue from the Bitcoin transaction fees. And by that time, we'll probably figure something out, I think. Right now, we do have like second layer, layer 2 solutions that are Lightning Network that you can use right with it, and eventually they're gonna have to probably institute something where you get for every set that you send, you have to pay. Maybe every set, maybe for every 100 sets, you have to pay a penny or something, or one set, depending on what it's gonna look like, depending on what the value of Bitcoin is and things like that. So maybe per every 10,000 sats that you send, it might be one sat or whatever it's gonna be. They might have to figure something out. Question. Seb, can you start doing a chart of what miners sell BTC so we can see who scaling out of there? Yeah, I do that every month when we talk about the miners as far as how much they sold. So we do that as well here. Where is it at? So if you look at just Cleanspark here, we can see that BTC sold. There's a chart for each one of these guys here, how much they've been selling. Look at Cypher, for example, as well. We can see it here that they've been selling a heck of a lot more here recently. So we do have, I do have that chart for each of the miners on it. Do you guys want a chart that has it all listed for the month? I could possibly do that as well if that's what you're looking for. That's not a big deal. Question, did you watch Decent on Power Money today? Bought right today. I did not. No, I've been busy otherwise. So I got to watch Jason still, and I got to watch the Cleanspark guys on Mining Podcast. Karen, thank you so much for the super sticker. Question, 1 year ago at BTC 45, I could have put everything into spot BTC ETF, decided to put 2/3 in miners and to get oversized gains. At Cleanspark about 11, Bitfarms at about 2. Going forward, you think, let's see, there's more to that. You think, going forward, you think it will? I do think that the miners, my personal opinion is that they should outperform Bitcoin. A lot of the miners have already done that, but for other reasons. And these guys have been kept down for a while here. So I'm thinking in time it will change. And if it doesn't, then all my analysis and tracking all the miners was for naught, because it was just based on hype and who you know, basically. So we'll see. See, BLM says miners will not shoot up until 2025 Q1 earnings. You might be right. We'll wait and see. Okay. All right. Question, do you agree with this prediction? Once Bitfarms announces Stronghold acquisition and is complete and Q1 numbers come out, it will explode 100%. I would hope so, right? It's been the worst performer here this year for us. So yeah, if that is the case with that, everybody's waiting for that to happen and be done with, then that might be a good catalyst that moves it forward, because everybody's talking about the dilution is going to be happening there. Once that dilution is done and over with, could that be the catalyst that actually propels it forward? I would hope so. All right. Let's see. Did you also notice miners only really run on days where market is only open half day or right before a holiday? I have not noticed that. No, I will take a look at that though. Do you think tomorrow will break $34 by the end of December? As long as Bitcoin goes up, I think so. Question first, thank you for being a calming presence in the space. Next, you're very welcome. Next, the recent drop in MicroStrategy. Do you feel this is a pivot point into the miners? It might be. Time will tell on that. Right, we usually have a rebalancing, whatever you want to call it, pivoting, whatever you want to call that. Something goes up tremendously like MicroStrategy has done. You tend to see somebody moving those profits into something else that has been underperformed, which we do have quite a few miners that have underperformed here. So that might happen. And if it does happen, that'd be kind of what we've seen in the past as well. So that would be just another, what's that word? Another data point, or another, gosh, I'm drawing a blank on it. I know what I want to say, but I can't say it. But you guys know what I mean. Question, Senator Loomis is pushing hard on the strategic Bitcoin reserve. What do you think happens if we get the strategic reserve? Well, government's going to start buying it, and you're going to have other governments buying it as well, because they're not going to want to be behind on U.S. as well. So I think it's game on at that point. We could be in for an extended cycle where Bitcoin goes up for a number of years instead of going the typical 12 to 18 months after the halving cycle. And it's definitely going to be interesting. We'll have to wait and see. Do you think with the advancement of quantum computing, will it affect Bitcoin mining? It will in time. In a number of years, I think we will have to do a hard fork in Bitcoin to basically prevent quantum computers from being able to attack the SHA-256 algorithm, which they're going to do something with that. So I do think in a couple of years that we will probably do that. especially with the advancements that we're seeing here, right, with Willow from Google here recently. So some are saying that could happen within a couple of years. Some are saying it's more like 10 to 15 years out. Whatever that time frame might be, we are going to have a change here as far as the security layer for Bitcoin. All right. Okay. Tajia, so yeah. So if you want a chart with all the Bitcoin that have been sold by the miners for each month, I can definitely do that. I'm going to try and remember to write that down to do that. Let's see here. Hi, Seb. Wolf Weekly MA are slopping up and it's above 200. Moving average Cleanspark is 2 copy and not performing well or as expected. Would you be buy of Cleanspark or Wolf in this case? I think, let's see here. Let me take a look. So let's take a look at Cleanspark and Wolf. I'm not a trader, so as you guys know, right? I usually buy into the miners that I think are doing fantastically, job of growing, everything else, the metrics kind of point my way. But if you look at technicals here on Wolf, and if you're looking at the daily, the 200, are you talking about the 200 daily? I mean, that's still way above that right now as it is. And it's way above that. Are you looking at the weekly maybe? Weekly, okay, yeah, it's weekly is the 200. Here it is above that. And then if you look at Cleanspark on it as well, Cleanspark 200 is down here. So I guess what you're saying is, could we go down here to like the $10 range and bounce off of that possibly? Because it has been struggling to stay above the 50-day moving average, or now 50 weekly moving average on it, I guess it would be. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm not a day trader. I wouldn't, yeah, you may have to ask somebody else on that one. But based on what I'm seeing here with enterprise value and other things with the miners, I think Cleanspark's more undervalued than like Wolf is right now. Wolf has, I mean, just take a look at this here. Wolf right now has, what do they have? Going off memory here, I don't want to go off memory. 8.4 exahash installed. They mined 115 Bitcoin here in November, right? Cleanspark has 33 exahash installed. They mined 622. That's, what is that? 115, basically almost 5.5x on top of it, what they're generating here. But yet their value here is, you know, they're being valued much higher per their exahash than what Cleanspark is right now in comparison. And the only reason they're being valued that high is because of the HPCI potential there. So, right, if that deal doesn't come through for them, or it's a substantial deal to for HPCI, for Wolf that is, could the stock take a hit because of it? I would think so. I don't know what the investors are pricing in here as far as what the revenues could be for them for that. The revenues that they've had so far this year are about, what is it, 120 some odd million here? 138 million here in the last 4 quarters, right? So what do you need for the stock to be priced much higher? Do you need another 100 million on top of that possibly? I just don't know. Okay, going back here. Okay. Especially BTC dropped more than 2,000 now. Worry or not? Reassure us, please. Bitcoin, let's see, where is it at? Yeah, it's down 2,000. It's down to what? Yeah. I mean, I'm not too worried about it. Still, I think it might be trying to front run a little bit what's going on with the Fed tomorrow. I think we've seen this in the past as well. Whenever the Fed speaks, Bitcoin likes to go down into that day and then possibly might go up. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think, like I said, it's going to be choppy here. We might come down even below the 100,000 mark here a couple more times before we go even further. We're still, I think, really early in the cycle, so I wouldn't really worry about it right now. Because if you really think that we could get the strategic Bitcoin reserve in the United States, how many other countries are going to follow suit as well? It's game on, like I said before, so we'll see. See, you used to think that as BTC goes way up, the miners would do as well, and even more so. Their price to mine is fixed, so they make more and more profit, but performance for the year still a no-brainer. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking, but I didn't take into account all the shorting that's been happening on some of these guys here. Some of these guys that have been running also on HPCI, that was unforeseen. Nobody really foresaw that happening, I would say, that's what was it, April, May of this year, right? When the talks started to get really heated up on that. And then ever since then, some of these guys were starting to run like crazy on that. So And that was mainly started by CoreWeave and Core Scientific going into bed together and making a big deal there. A lot of revenue for Core Scientific, so I can see why. All right. When do you think Hive and Bitfarms will 2 to 3x? I think in the next 6 to 9 months, they definitely should do that. If Bitcoin goes up to where we think it's going to go. If Bitcoin gets up to 110,000 and that's it, well, then we're at where we're at probably. But I still believe that Bitcoin's going to go up much higher. That's just my thoughts on it. Could I be wrong? Sure. But do you guys think that's going to be the case with all the adoption we're having here? I really don't. So it'll be interesting, but I think we're still going up much higher from where we are right now. We're still not done in this cycle. The cycle usually starts running in the next year. That should be running right now, but we're behind a little bit. But I'm not still worried about it. Question, what if Bitfarms doesn't pump? What will be the future of Bitfarms then? Yeah, they're going to be in a tougher position at that point, right? If they don't run up. They still have growth ahead of them, 21 exahash by the end of the first half of 2025. So they're going to do that. They're buying Stronghold as well, so that gives them more growth there as well. So they've got a lot of things going for them. The stock should run as long as Bitcoin runs as well. Okay. This year, it hasn't worked at all. This no-brainer strategy that the miners should make multiples more than BTC. Yeah, I mean, for some, I would say half of the miners, it hasn't worked, and for the others, it has worked, but because of HPCI. Know what we do now. Do you think that going forward, 2025 miners are performing? I think still so, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I still think that's the case. I'll probably eat my words on that if Bitcoin only goes, 225,000, or 225,000, 150,000, and the miners only run up another 50% or something like that. I'll eat my words on that. Okay, question, is Canon a good buy? I know Canon has been running up here recently. Let me see if I have it in here, my numbers here for Canon. I do have it. So it's had a huge rally here recently on it. You can see it started basically in November. And it went up, how much is it? It's gone up huge, I know that. It's gone up basically to the top here, 235% here, and what is that number of days? 34 trading days, you could say almost 35. It's back down a little bit now to 200%. So it's had a nice run up here. I'm not sure what the reason for that is, because if you look at Bitcoin here year to date, I think it might be outperforming Bitcoin year to date. Let's go to Bitcoin, and we'll put that one over it as well. So Bitcoin, add CANN or CAN. There it is. Same as price. Okay. Now you can see here year to date, Bitcoin is up. Year to date. Do I have year to date? There we go. Year to date. So Bitcoin's up 145%. Canon is only up 37%. So it's kind of performing like some of the other miners that haven't done very well. Could this be a sign for the miners to do well going forward as well? Could we have a rotation happening from that? Maybe. If we also look at 1 year on it, things look a little bit more bleak, I think. That is 1 year. Look at 5 years on it. Canon has underperformed Bitcoin here. Bitcoin's up in the last 5 years, 1,360%. Canon at certain points does pretty well, but I just don't see it. I could be wrong on this as well. But historically, it hasn't done that well compared to Bitcoin. All right, let's go back to Q&A. Okay. Where is it at? Okay, there's that one. Okay, let's see here. Thanks. Cleanspark is being attacked by shorters trying away from it. Okay. Let's see here. Sebastian, what do you think about SIRI stock? I don't know what that one is. Warren Buffett adding it to his portfolio, yet it is at 52-week low. SIRI and Cleanspark make up my portfolio equally. Both are falling. Well, if Warren Buffett is buying it, right, he's usually the one that would say, be greedy when others are fearful and be fearful when others are greedy. So is he seeing something in that one? What is SIRI? SIRI. Let me see if I can pull that up. What is that stock there? SIRI. Sirius. Oh, Sirius XM. Why would we be buying Sirius XM on them? I don't really track the stock, so I really don't know as far as, but let's see what's going on with that one here really quick. Let me see. Go to series. Get rid of can here. Yeah, so Sirius XM has been falling down. But why? And this is over the last probably 5 years or so. Let's look at year to date. Yeah, it's been coming down. It's been coming down for quite a while. It peaked here at 79.50. This was back in July of last year. Earnings miss. Is you thinking that might be for an acquisition there by somebody because the price has been coming down? I don't know. Don't know what to tell you there. You may know more about it than I do, actually. All right. See, Jeffrey says, I have to admit, I've been thinking if you can't beat them, join them, but can't bring myself to short the miners. Okay, yeah. Private says, thanks so much for sharing your honest thoughts. Nobody knows the future. We can only think our best and try to profit the most from the rise in Bitcoin. I'm still hoping, see us. Yeah, I'm still the same way. Yeah, Sirius XM here. Let's see. If Trump administration really goes for Bitcoin as a Federal Reserve, all the other countries will follow. You think we could see a 500 Bitcoin in 2025 then? I mean, that would be fantastic. My original goal for Bitcoin was 180,000 this cycle. And that was without any of the news of Bitcoin being as a strategic reserve in the United States or anywhere else. So if we do get that, I mean, yeah, I don't know where the top's going to be. I would be happy with Bitcoin getting to 200,000, 250,000, and the miners doing really well also, being a little bit more leverage play. So, yeah, I don't know. That would be fantastic, though. I wouldn't mind it at all. But 500,000 from where we are right now, that's basically going up 500% from where we are right now, right? That's a lot of gains. I don't think we've had those types of gains since the early days of Bitcoin. Yeah, this time is different. Everyone says that every time. But this time it does seem like different. You got nation states talking about it, which we didn't have before. Before we had nation states banning it. And so it's a different juxtaposition from where we were just a couple of years ago on these things, right? And it took, gosh, what's the country there? With Buchel, the president there. You guys know which country I'm talking about, where he started doing the strategic reserve Bitcoin there. Argentina, I believe. So that kind of started it off a little bit, and other countries are looking into it as well. He got criticized heavily for with Bitcoin coming down in value. On it. So it does seem different this time around. We've got also, I think we've gotten rid of a lot of the bad actors in this space. FTX is out, right? Celsius, others, Three Arrows Capital. So there's just, I think the space has been cleaned up more so, and I think you needed that, and that's why you have now the big guys, BlackRock being in there, Fidelity and others. So you have a lot of institutions that are going forward with all of this. So they're there to make money, and they're going to try to make as much money as they can. Okay. See, if Bitcoin is 500,000 still, I have a bone to pick with Ben. Yeah, Bitcoin's at 500,000. They're still at $2. Yeah. El Salvador. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, El Salvador. Yeah, I said that, I think. No, I said Argentina. El Salvador. Thank you. Okay. But we're pretty much cut up to all you guys' questions here, and we're going on an hour as it is. So I'm going to call it a day. Try to get some sleep as well. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow we got the Fed talking. I don't know if they make the decision tomorrow or if they make the decision on Thursday for the rate cuts. But we'll find out about that. We'll talk about it when it does happen. I didn't want that. I wanted this one. So we'll see what happens there on it, and we'll see how the miners react, how Bitcoin reacts to that as well. Is he going to be dovish or is he going to be hawkish? I think we're still going to get to 25 basis points, but at that point they might hold off until they make another decision for several months to see how CPI comes in, all the other stuff, job reports, everything else comes in for them at that point. So yeah, we'll cover it all. Thank you so much for coming in. I love you guys all. Have a great night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.